Good afternoon and welcome everybody to today's education outreach training, how to become a STEM ambassador. I am Jelena Gatisha and I'm the education outreach and safeguarding lead at the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. Today, I am joined by representatives from Primary Engineer, Roxanne, Tristan from STEM Learning, and of course, our wonderful trainer, coach, member, all-round wonderful representative of STEM and our membership, Alex. I'll let them introduce themselves. Just provide an overview of what we are doing today, the aim of the session, and basically why we're doing it. So education outreach education spans the lifelong learning piece and the support that the institution provides members across the lifelong learning journey of an engineer. We recently launched, not so recently, it was last year, our strategy, our 2030 strategy, and our mission remains the same to improve the world through engineering. But we've focused our efforts and most of our activity falls into two broad categories. One is to develop engineers, and two is to maximize the impact those engineers have on society. As you can see, education broadly goes into both of the two strands of work, and a huge plethora of activity is encompassed in those areas. We cover education outreach, so my role really focuses on that initial part of inspiring and informing young people and hopefully getting them to choose a career in engineering. Education outreach is the most popular volunteering for members, so I'm really pleased to see we still have interest, and it's an ongoing campaign from new members or people that perhaps haven't signed up as STEM ambassadors but have been involved in education outreach. The STEM Ambassador Programme, which is overseen by STEM Learning UK, is a requirement of being involved in education outreach as an IMechE member. And STEM Learning basically covered the registration process for us, and Tristan will cover that in a little bit. So what we aim to do with our education work is very simple. We're trying to get more young people into engineering, diversify their pipeline, and also ensure that those young people have the right skills when they go into industry. So we're responding to the needs of industry. And that is a huge amount of activity. This is one segment, a very important segment to ensure that pipeline that then goes through to different areas of the IMechE's work. Our members are involved in education outreach. I think people always think of you going into school. Of course, that's a key element, but it's very broad, lots of different things that you can get involved with. And this training and the training that we provide, as well as some of the resources that we're going to cover, is intended to support you and to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to do that. So that can be everything from going and doing a careers talk, running a STEM club, potentially, as well as extracurricular activities and things that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily think of as education outreach, but it certainly is. Becoming a mentor or potentially a school governor, perhaps supporting one of our student competitions, getting involved in accreditation. So there's lots to be done. It's a busy field. So we want to simplify it and signpost what our opportunities are and what the process is. And this is the first of this year's, I realize I'm talking quite a lot, so I'm going to stop. This is the first of our training for this year. We're going to be offering 3 online sessions. Each session is different. We look at a different topic, a different aspect of education outreach. They're all recorded sessions and available on our web pages thereafter, so you can revisit any of the information or share it more broadly. And we'll be providing also targeted sessions for young members in person this year. Now, I will pass over to Alex, and please do type any questions that you have. We really want that engagement. That's what we're here for. We want to, answer your questions, signpost anything, explain anything if it's not clear, and hopefully you enjoy the session. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Elena. Right, hello everybody. Thank you so much for giving up an hour of your evening to join us. We are really happy to be here to help, hopefully, open your eyes to some new ideas, insights, inspiration for you to level up as a STEM ambassador if you are already a STEM ambassador with the IMechE, or if you're not already, then hopefully give you the motivation and confidence to get going on that journey. So I'm going to share my screen because we've got a couple of slides to go through. Let me just do that. All right. So Yelena's already done a fantastic introduction, so I don't need to go into too much detail. But as she said, please do put any questions you've got in the chat or just raise your digital hand and we can come to you. We've got lots to share with you this evening, so we will make a start. Just briefly though, for those who don't know me, so you know who I am, as Elena said, I'm a chartered mechanical engineer. I've been a fellow of the IMechE for quite a few years now. Got my fellowship, I think, back in 2008. Yeah, so quite a few years now I've been a fellow. And I set up STEMazing, which is a not-for-profit, back in 2019. And I'm really, really happy to be working with the IMechE to support more IMechE members to really get as involved as possible in STEM outreach, because I am so passionate about it. It's one of the things that helped me more than anything to grow my confidence, my public engagement skills throughout my whole engineering career, right from being at university and ongoing even now. And I feel like it helped me so much in my professional journey so that I was a better presenter, more confident in myself, really understood like my love of STEM and how I could bring that out, combined with my strengths, which helps in so many ways, from interviews to conferences you present at. So never underestimate the power that STEM outreach has and the benefits for you personally, as well as all the amazing work and inspiration you're doing for young people for our future in engineering. So for me, that's why I'm so passionate, because it's helped me open doors to so many opportunities I never thought would be out there, from doing STEM live shows at the Science Museum in London, to being on TV as an engineering expert, to winning awards. And honestly, I can say that all came from being a STEM ambassador and pushing myself to do more in that context. So highly recommend it. Hopefully you're getting that message. So we have an exciting program of training for you. Today, obviously, we're doing the initial one for those who maybe don't even know where to start as a STEM ambassador. Then we've got another one coming up next month that's all about inclusive STEM outreach. So how can we really ensure that we are being inclusive across all sorts of different domains, from SEND, so special educational needs and disabilities, schools, children, through to in normal school settings, how we can ensure that we are bringing everybody on board with us. So that's really, really important. So we'll be covering that next month. And then in September, we're going to be focusing on specifically pitching engineering to primary school children, to those younger children. How can we catch them young and engage them into our future of engineering? So those are the online ones. And then, as Yelena said, we've got 3 in-person STEM ambassador training sessions. One is going to be at the IMechE for young members specifically. And then we've got 2 at universities, one in London at Brunel University, one up in Glasgow for anyone based in the north of the UK. And they're both going to be in October. So the young members one is just for young members, but the other 2 at the universities are going to be open to IMechE members who are students, but also any professionals who want to come along to those sessions. So you're welcome to join those in person. Right, I would like to gauge our audience here today and find out a bit about you. So what is your current level of STEM ambassador experience. And I've got a little poll for you, which we'll see if this works. So if I launch this poll, hopefully you will see that come up. And I would like you to ask, so basically, are you not registered as a STEM ambassador yet? Or are you registered so you are a STEM ambassador? And then how much experience do you have? Okay, so far I can see, I don't know if you can see the results there. We've got majority of people saying I am not a STEM ambassador yet. So you've joined the right webinar. That's great because you're going to find out how to do that. And then a couple saying I am registered and done quite a lot. Okay, perfect. So that's great for us. We know the level to pitch at. So lots of you are not yet registered as a STEM ambassador. That's very useful to know. Thank you. All right, let me stop that. So now Yelena also has done a fantastic job of introing the problem space, because I think it's always good to start with why this is so important. I've given some reasons as to how it benefits us as engineers to get involved in STEM outreach, but obviously this is part of us developing a more diverse, inclusive and stronger, bigger engineering future. Because when you look at the problem space that we have at the moment, I was quite shocked to find this out, that 25% of all job vacancies in the UK are engineering jobs. So the 1 in 4 job vacancies are for engineers in the UK. I thought that was quite shocking, just shows how many engineers we need, that we are missing. So there's a huge, we always know we have this STEM skills shortage, and it's still a huge problem. When you look at the mix of engineers that we have, we tend to be very male dominated still. So only 16% women in engineering. So we need to do more to attract girls and women into engineering. That doesn't have to exclusively be done by women. Absolutely, male as allies can absolutely inspire girls as well. And I think, we need everybody to be STEM ambassadors. But if you have the mindset of how can I showcase diversity in engineering through what I'm talking about, then you're making sure that you are attracting everybody in the audience, not just people who look like you. So that's important. And we'll talk about that in our next webinar a bit more. And research from Engineering UK showing that 55% of school students say they know what engineers do, which is, just over half. It's not enough. But even then, I think, do they really know what engineers do? Or do they just think they know what engineers do? And there could be quite a difference there. So there is still a big problem, and STEM ambassadors, particularly engineers, can really help us to raise the awareness of engineering in society for young people, for teachers, and for their parents and carers at home. So, there's so much work to be done, and we need an army of us out there doing this to raise awareness. And the plus side is that when you do this work, it makes a huge difference. So some of the stats on here show, for example, when school students attend 1 or more STEM careers activity, they are 3.5 times more likely to know what people working in engineering do, and 3.4 times more likely to consider a career in engineering. That is amazing, how you can make such a difference with even just one intervention. And like ideally we want to do more than one intervention with young people, but just shows what a positive impact you just turning up and being a visible role model can do for these young people. So I've already mentioned, I like to kind of really hammer home the benefits, because I think that's one of the kind of motivators for us as engineers, is to really know that this is valuable time and effort that we're putting in. It's our free time. We're volunteering to do it. So it's good to be able to maximize the benefits for yourself, as well as giving back to the community, and also benefiting your company, who you work for. That can be a big part of that as well. They can celebrate it, raise, the PR profile of using it and things. We have a lot of people in the IMechE membership who benefit a lot in their chartership and fellowship applications by doing STEM outreach. So it's definitely a fantastic thing to do if you're working towards chartership or fellowship, and all those other many benefits that I've put on there and talked about. So hopefully we are persuading you this is a fantastic thing to do. And a key message from me would be, when you are going in to do STEM outreach, if you can remember simple, sensational, STEM for all, then you can't go too far wrong. Keep it simple. Don't try and overcomplicate it. And you're going to hear from partners of the IMechE today of how they will make your life easy as a STEM ambassador. All you have to do is turn up. They will do all the hard work, and you can be there and just shine as a role model. So keep it simple. You don't have to make this really complicated and hard work for you. Think about how you are really engaging and inspiring the audience. So that's the sensational bit, so that they actually come away buzzing, feeling like, wow, that was awesome. And again, working with partner organizations who are experts in this will help you do that effortlessly. So if you are doing it completely off your own bat, then using resources like the IMechE provide for you. So again, you can follow their tutorials, you can use their resources, keep it simple for you. And if you follow the tried and tested things that lots of people have already done, then it will be a sensational session. And really importantly, linking STEM to real life. As engineers, we're good at that. That is our job. We use the foundations of maths and science to make a difference in the real world. So explain that to the kids, show them how what you do in your job makes a difference in the real world, and how what they're learning at school makes a real difference in the world. So I think if you can kind of tick those three boxes, it will be an incredible session and definitely leave the children, young people feeling inspired. Now, the IMechE has got a lot of partners that they work with to support on this. And we're very fortunate today to have some of them speaking here. So go on the IMechE website and have a look at the partners that are on there and what you can do to get involved with those. Like I said, that is a really simple way of getting started, because they will support you with everything you need and kind of make your life easy. Okay, at that point, I am going to pass over to our first partner, Tristan from STEM Learning UK. And Tristan is going to talk you through how you can sign up as a STEM ambassador. Thanks, Tristan.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving up your evening or an hour's worth of evening this evening so we can talk you through the STEM Ambassador Program. And thank you again for so many great words that I normally use in my presentations when I deliver these types of sessions in my working day. Hopefully, you should all be able to soon see my screen. And this is the start of your journey. So yeah, my name is Tristan. I am a project officer for solely the STEM Ambassador Program. I work within STEM Learning, who are the delivery, the company that deliver the program across the UK. And my main role is actually liaising with a lot of organisation and partnerships and institutions across the UK to hopefully help them build cohorts of STEM ambassadors, so that actually they can grow that feel good energy that you get from being a STEM ambassador within organizations, but also address sector required needs and bring that real life example into school that we've already mentioned and alluded to in the conversations before. The first things first, though, the program, how you sign up. You go to our www.stem.org.uk, visit our website, and you can see the lovely atrium picture there of our National STEM Learning Centre in York. And the first things first, it's not totally obvious. However, you click on this little badge here, and that will then link you through to the process of entering your information. The information that is needed is very limited. It's very basic information. It's not something that's testing. It'll be your name, surname, address, so location, where you're based in the UK, but then also what kind of subjects you might want to deliver in a classroom or within a non-school group. But do not worry, you're not held accountable to these, and the offers that are on the platform will not be limited based on this choice. So you could choose anything at this moment just to start that process. But that whole step takes between 5 to 10 minutes. Once that's completed, it will ask you to verify your email address. And with that, you will then be sent a link to an induction. It will then go through a lot more about the impact that you can have when working as a STEM ambassador. It will take you through some how-to guides and some ideas on how to use our platform and other bits and pieces for you to hopefully get you started and to feed that appetite. And then once that induction's completed, which includes a safeguarding test in there, you will then get a link through for your DBS or your PVG, depending on where you're based. And this is something that now the process has since changed since March this year. We send you a link which you will be able to download an app onto your tablet or device, and then you can verify the documentation that starts the process for the DBS or PVG without the need of getting it verified by another body. The app will do that for you by just taking a picture and sending that off. But should you not feel comfortable doing that, you are more than welcome to come and visit our offices in York or in London to get somebody to verify for you in person. And then once you've got that process underway, you automatically get access to this landing page. And hopefully you can now see my ugly mug on the screen in front of you twice. So I do apologize. So you'll have me. This is the landing page that you get for your profile. And this is what it would look like once you've started doing some volunteering, as you can see here. The one thing we would want you to do, especially the main reason for this call, to join the group that's on our platform under the title of IMechE, you would need to go into your profile and know how to affiliate yourself to that institution. So you get to your homepage here, and you can see that there's an edit profile. Before this, it'll all be blank and it'll have a percentage bar underneath to show how much information you can input in there and how many steps you need to go through to get to the point where it's 100% completed. So please populate as much as you can, because this is, in the end, what a teacher, school, or a person that's making the request for a STEM ambassador will see. You click on Edit Profile, and it'll take you through to a little bit more about you. To then affiliate yourself to any institutions, any schemes, or anything that's on our platform, which is an extra tag for yourself as a STEM ambassador. So you're signing up as an individual. How do you then show the world and affiliate yourself with certain groups? You can link with the organization that you're working with. However, the point of this call is to make sure that you are registered as an IMechE ambassador. So you'll see this bit here, professional institution membership. And it says, I am a member of one of these professional institutions or trade associations. If you click in this box and type in IMechE, you'll see it appears. And that is all you have to then do. You then can click on here to say that you're happy for your details to then be shared with IMechE so that they can see your name and then the activities that you're doing. Otherwise, it will come through as anonymized. But then you just click on that, submit a bottom at the bottom, and that is that. That will then you be registered as an IMechE STEM ambassador, and therefore you're just waiting solely for the DBS to come through. And as per the homepage initially, as you saw at the beginning, once your DBS has been confirmed, you'll receive it in the post. You will also receive this lovely tile on your system, which will give you the date in which it expires, and then you can keep an eye on that for the coming years. There is a service in which you can sign up for an automatic renewal. That is something that you would have to do separate after you've done the process, but very highly recommend. So then it means it keeps ticking over without you having to action anything. If anyone's got any questions about this process, though, feel free to pop this into the chat on the side, and I'll happily be here to answer. And then anything else that you want me to cover, and in any time, feel free to ask the question, and I can signpost you to areas.
Thanks so much, Tristan. That's super helpful to see that actually step by step how we do that. Thank you. There are a couple of questions in the chat for you. I'm going to suggest if you can answer those in the chat, because everyone will be able to see your answers there. And then Roxanne can start telling us about the opportunities with primary engineer as well.
Hello, everybody. Yes, So I think the first thing to say, obviously, is Elena and Alex have really outlined the importance of doing STEM ambassador work, and obviously getting out there into your community, talking to young people. Obviously, Tristan there directing you how you do that with a registration, which logs your engagement, which is super easy. We do direct volunteers that come to us to STEM learning to be able to get their DBS there as well, which is such an easy way to do it. So I'll share my screen and I'll just quickly talk you through sort of who I am, who we are. So Primary Engineer, we are a not-for-profit company that are nearly 20 years old, actually. So started in 2005. So a long-standing company here doing what we do, which is taking engineering into schools to engage with young people. So a little bit here. So this is me, and I am I'm still saying relatively new, but actually I've been in this role for nearly 18 months now as Engineer Relationship Manager for Primary Engineer. And this was a role that came to light because, as you've seen, there are so many opportunities for volunteers to get involved in that it needed somebody dedicated to really help people like yourselves to get involved in what we offer. So I think the first thing for me to say is that obviously you've got the why, you've got the how, and this could be the activity that you actually do. It's a really easy way to get involved. And Primary Engineer, we have a range of programs and competitions that we deliver to schools up and down the UK. These are free to schools. That means there's no barriers to their engagement, and we really want to reach as many pupils as we can to get them excited, to get them inspired, to let them know about engineering, not, and even to challenge what they think they know about engineers and engineering, to break stereotypes. And really what I like to say is to open doors and keep those doors to engineering open. And when I will say engineers, but I do usually say engineering and technology professionals, because what we really want to do as well is highlight all of the roles that go into engineering companies, and that arguably there is an opportunity for anybody who would like to work in that sector to work in engineering as an industry, in all of the diversity that includes as well. So I think the next thing I really wanted to say is that you can see here, Yelena sort of mentioned it at the start, and how we fit in is that the IMechE, obviously one of the big objectives and strategy for the current years is to inspire, engage, support, and influence pupils, students, and teachers through engineering. And that's exactly what we do, which is why we are such good partners, because we are on the same page, working towards the same fantastic goal, which you can all have a really big impact on as well. For us, if you want to reach us at Primary Engineer, and I'll go through some of the ways that you can get involved, but you can find us online, obviously at Primary Engineer. We're on the IMechE website. Alex showed you earlier on the partners. You can find us in any which way, and you can get in touch and we can get you involved. So how do we do this? So we've got a variety of programs and competitions that we deliver into schools, and we predominantly work with pupils 3 to 19. So a really big age gap there. We're doing that primary, secondary and beyond. And there's lots and lots of options. And for example, programs, we've got rail vehicle construction programs, and these are curriculum mapped, so designed to make it easy for schools and teachers to deliver in the classroom, because it's ticking those boxes that they have to tick for engagement with pupils in different areas. And these can fit into all sorts, especially in primary. We're not talking about them needing to make space for engineering. What they're doing is they're doing it alongside what they're already doing. So they might fit this into a geography project. They might fit this into a history involvement. It could be science. Lots of options for schools to get involved in there. We've also got competitions, and these are really open and fluid. It is as simple as asking a pupil, if you were an engineer, what would you do? And they're inspired ideas, they're problem solving, and they're designing solutions, and they engage with engineers as well. And I'll go through some more detail there as well. And you can just see there, we've got the little learning habits of mind, which you'll be familiar with. We're looking at those core engineering skills. We're looking at problem solving and really helping to embed that in those pupils. What does it look like? Well, it looks like this. It's fun. We've got lots of happy pupils and teachers, excited, engaged, inspired. We've got engineers in the classroom. We've got engineers that aren't always in the classroom. Maybe you don't want to stand up in front of pupils. Maybe you are a young ambassador that maybe doesn't have that confidence yet, and Alex can definitely help you with that. But yeah, lots of options to even edge your way in. It doesn't have to be full on right at the start. And engagement with primary engineer can be from as little as an hour right up to several opportunities throughout the academic year. I usually say for full engagement, you're looking at about 15 hours, which if you are aiming towards, as you said, those charterships, memberships where you have to demonstrate that outreach, it's a really nice, easy opportunity to get involved and get those numbers adding up. So I'll briefly go through a couple of ways that you can get involved specifically. So the primary engineer here, we've got the Leaders Award. If you're an engineer if you're an engineer, what would you do competition, which, as I said before, is about problem solving. And we have a framework of competition that is flexible for the schools. This can be a short involvement, perhaps a few hours an afternoon, maybe for the classroom. This can span several weeks if the teacher wants to go into more in-depth involvement for the pupils into engineering. And within the competition, as I said, we ask pupils to look at the world around them and to identify a problem. And for example, 48,000 entries last year. So a huge involvement across the UK, and those numbers are even bigger this year, which is just incredible to see it grow. We tend to find once schools take part, they come back year in, year after because they see the benefit of it. So we ask the pupils to look around them, and it might be something close to home. Maybe they think of grandma or the community. It could be something problem solving for health. Sometimes they think wider across the world. You've got there was a flurry a few years ago of lots of sea cleaning robots because that was on the news. So it's whatever's inspiring them, whatever is close to them. And within that, what we ask them to do is to interview an engineer. So again, I say engineer, but engineering and technology professional. So we ask them to interview an engineer, and we can do that either in the classroom or virtually, which was the answer earlier. I think there was a question of was there the possibility to do this remotely? Yep, we can certainly link you up with schools virtually. There are definitely some schools that are out of the way that are a bit more difficult to get to, or maybe support is a bit lower in those areas. So we would usually say, let's see if we can get you somebody to dial in on Zoom or Teams, and you can chat to the class remotely. So they're asked to interview an engineer, and that's to give them a really good understanding of the opportunities, the passion, I think is the main thing. We can talk to them about engineering in an educational sense, but it's very difficult to really get that passion that you as engineers have about how you ended up where you are, what drove you to study or to do the career that you're doing. Maybe there was something specific that made you want to pick the sector that you're in. So it's nice to be able to talk about that. So once they've interviewed an engineer, they then design. So here we've got a couple of selections, and you can see they're really varied. We've got a rain catcher. The middle one actually was one from last year, which I've put it on as a personal favorite, is an extension lead in the wall. So the pupil was like, why do we have to have these big leads that you plug in? Why can't we just pull it out of the wall? And I will say this was actually at the judging day in Belfast, which sparked a lot of debate around the engineers going, well, hang on, this is a fire hazard. We can't be coiling that up. So so sometimes it's the wild and the wacky, and sometimes it's the really romantic and close to home. So, but lots and lots of freedom for them to problem solve and think creatively. We ask them also, when they've done their design, to write a letter to an engineer. So here we're ticking those boxes for schools to enable them to obviously use those skills with them alongside the competition to make it nice and easy. So you've been into class, hopefully, you've taught to them, and I give you support for that as well. So if you do register with us for volunteering, we have an engineer's handbook that gives you some tips and ideas and suggest what your visit might look like, so that you're not going in there blind. You've got a nice bit of hand holding, and I'm always on hand for a quick Teams call or an email if you've got any questions as well. So usually we suggest that you do a presentation, and it's only 5-10 minutes, a quick talk about yourself, about your passion, your involvement, and let them ask you questions as well. You know, they might have some questions that they've just thought of, inspired by what you've been telling them, and it's nice for them to be able to get those answers on the spot. Keeps them engaged. And I wanted to highlight here, the competition doesn't end there. So once they've done that and they've talked to you, and we ask them to write their inspiring engineer, so you become famous because they put your name on their entries, and they get sent in to us for grading. And there's lots of opportunity here again for involvement. We have grading days up and down the country, where we invite engineering professionals to come and actually sit down in a room. So no pupils, no children. So if you don't feel comfortable going into classrooms, you can get involved in the grading days. And we pass merit distinction shortlist, and we're looking for this year's winners. So once the winners are identified, we do an award ceremony, and it's a fantastic engagement for the pupils. It's really furthering their involvement as well, and celebrating it as well, to cement that enjoyment that they've had through the programme. And I just wanted to highlight here, so we have university and industry partners who then look at designs up and down the UK and select some to prototype. So as if your idea as a pupil couldn't get any better, you get the opportunity, if you're chosen, to see it brought to life. And the reason I've picked the two here that you can see, we've got Douglas and the flat packed wind turbine that was chosen by Glasgow Caledonian University a few years ago. And Douglas's inspiration was to be able to provide power to war or devastation areas, refugee camps potentially, where they might not have it or it could not be strong. And he wanted to be able to create it out of items that they might have lying around. So a plastic drum, things like that. And the university picked it up and brought it to life, which has been incredible. Douglas was involved in that and has actually gone on to study engineering as a degree, which is, you know, brilliant to see that pathway come to life. And you can just see there at the bottom the incarnation that actually received some Ingenia funding. I think, if I'm not mistaken, about £250,000, and has gone out to Kenya to actually be used and deployed, all from a pupil's idea, inspired. Absolutely inspired. And there as well, just to, you know, really bring it back home, we've got a plant pot. So the face for a plant is a prototype, was a pupil's idea, basically to tell you what's wrong with your plant. If your plant keeps dying, this invention will tell you if it needs water, if it needs light, whatever it needs. And it also tells you if it's dead, with a skull and crossbones, which I particularly loved. So yeah, and Talis were our first industry partner last year, and they built the face for a plant, which I thought was brilliant. So options for involvement in the If You're an Engineer competition. You've got the option to be interviewed by a school, where you can visit in person, or we can do it virtually as well. We've got grading days, so these are a full day of involvement, usually around about 9 to 4, and these are on set days, usually around about, we've just finished it actually, so you're looking at that March, April time. And then we've got exhibitions. So once they've all been graded, we then celebrate pupils and we put them on display, because we want to inspire the world with these brilliant pupil ideas. And again, this is an incredible opportunity just for a couple of hours to visit and engage with pupils and teachers and parents and grandparents and members of the public, again, furthering your outreach and enabling you to inspire more and more people in your journey as well. Now, the next thing, another main way that you can be involved as a volunteer, as a STEM ambassador within primary engineer, are through our programs. So this is slightly different, and I wanted to highlight this because this is a longer term commitment over several months with a repeated interaction with the same school. So it really helps to solidify and cement that involvement that pupils are having with you, and building a relationship between yourself and that school. Ideal if you want to potentially return year on year or support them in different ways. This is a really good way to build that relationship and foundation as well. So the primary engineer programs are a curriculum mapped program, and here we teach the teachers. So what we're doing is we're giving them skills for life to be able to engage pupils year after year in engineering and feel confident in it as well. You may or may not know that engineering is typically not included in school teaching. It touches in a few subjects, but it's certainly not a focus, and this enables them to deliver it confidently in the classroom. And again, volunteer involvement is so important as that inspiring voice to break stereotypes, to normalize, and also open the doors to what you're doing in your career and the possibilities that they might want to do it as well. I always encourage volunteers to talk about themselves and what they were like as children. You never know, there'll be a pupil in that classroom that thinks, I like doing that too, and suddenly you've started that spark. I come from engineering as well in my family, so I totally get it. It is an incredible career option, and I'm really keen to try and open doors as well for pupils to consider. So lots of options there again. So this is a teacher training day where you attend with the teacher, no pupils. It's a hands-on model building program. So you're talking old school. You can just see there they're doing vehicles, cardboard shoe boxes and wheels. It's really good fun. Back to basics with a handsaw. Things you might not have done in a while, depending on where you're at in your career at the moment. But it's nice to be able to get involved there. And then you're invited to attend the classroom and engage and support those pupils in the build. Again, let them ask you questions, talk about yourself, engage with them. And then finally, you're invited to a judging and celebration day. So these are 3 distinct involvements within the same school. And here, the pupils, as you can see there, have to test their models. And what we're problem solving. So if that car is not going to go straight, how can we correct it? There's a ramp test that when you've got, you'll appreciate this, little wooden wheels on slippy wooden surfaces tend not to get as far up the ramp as the children would like. And of course, they need to talk about friction and think about how they might solve that. Elastic bands are a really easy solution. So it's that engagement, and it's fantastic. Lots of options. So I just quickly wanted to wrap up here and show our impact of last year. So we're not a small operation. We have a humongous outreach, which means for yourselves as volunteers, lots of opportunities. So once you have signed up with STEM Learning and you've got that confidence from Alex and the IMechE website support, you can come to us and we will look to find engagement for you. I do also occasionally advertise opportunities through STEM Learning. Typically what we do is we ask you to register with us as well. I know, another registration. It only takes a few minutes, and the purpose of that is to give us your location and basic details. And the way that we pair you with opportunities is because schools come to us and say, oh, we want to take part. We then say, you'll need an engineer, you'll need a volunteer, because it's important that we have that in the classroom. And what we do is we look at we look at the school and we look in the area around them and we identify volunteers that fit. And we would get in contact and say, such and such a school would love you to visit them. And you'll say, yes, of course. And we'll make an introduction and we'll pair you up. Or it might be that we'll say, we've got this grading day going on near. Do you want to get involved? We'd love you to join us. Sign up here and let us know that you're going to attend. And again, I've got handbooks and lots of support so that you're not doing it alone. But as you can see, huge impact there with nearly 80,000 pupils last year, which is just phenomenal. And we would be delighted, obviously, to have more involvement. We have not yet reached the point where we have too many volunteers. So yeah, lots of opportunities throughout the academic year. And if you do want to catch up with us, obviously you've got there, you can register via the website. And then I've put the other websites there as well if you want more information about the competition and programs. And of course, you can come directly through to me on email if you've got any questions. But yeah, lots of opportunities.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. That's amazing. Thank you. And as I put in the chat as well, I've been involved in primary engineer and absolutely love it. The judging days are just so inspirational when you see all the ideas from the little kids coming in. It's awesome. So if yeah, I tell you what, Roxanne, could you maybe put some of those links in the chat so that people have got those? Brilliant, thank you. very briefly from me, if you wanted to get involved in STEMazing, which is another partner of the IMechE, then you absolutely can. We are a much smaller operation than Primary Engineer. We are a tiny not-for-profit, and we focus purely on supporting women in STEM and engineering particularly. So if you are a woman in engineering yourself, or you know somebody who is, you can get involved in our programs, which is all about really building your confidence and leveling up as a visible role model, developing your public engagement skills. That's what we focus on, and then linking it into STEM outreach. So we've done, we've had like a number of women, about 400 women role models so far. Quite a large proportion have been mechanical engineers because of the links with the IMechE. And those women have been through a program that we do, which is a 3-month program, and it's all online. So you don't have to be in the UK to take part. It's international. And those women collectively have delivered lots of different fun STEM activities, just using really simple resources. And collectively, they have now delivered over 100,000 STEMazing Kids engagements. So it's amazing what a large impact you can make with, you know, a relatively small group of people when they come together. So if you want to get involved, as I said, this is at the moment, we just offer it only for women. The IMechE, as a partner of ours, has 12 guaranteed places for members. So you will get a prioritized place on our program. We're always oversubscribed. We can only take a certain number of women because of, you know, the size of the team behind the scenes supporting you. The easiest thing to do is scan that QR code and sign up. And if you put in that you're an IMechE member, you are very, very likely to get a place, because we've got these guaranteed places for IMechE members. And get in touch with me if you want any more information on that. Happy to tell you more at any stage. So I wanted to move on to other opportunities for you as IMechE members. You have regional education officers that you can get in touch with. And there is always IMechE focused STEM outreach stuff going on that you can get involved with locally in your regions around the UK. So if you reach out to your local one, you go on there's the web link there, and you can find out who your local one is, find out what's going on in your local area that you can get involved with. That's a really nice and easy way to make a start as an IMechE STEM ambassador, very locally to you. And of course, I have to mention this incredible resource that the IMechE has exclusively for IMechE members is their STEM at Home packs and range of activities. This, I think, you know, I've experienced a lot of STEM outreach activities in my time, but I think this really is something else. This is an incredible free resource for all of you, that if you get in touch with Yelena, she can send you a box of resources that allows you to run a series of IMechE STEM at Home activities with your local school. They are split into different key stages, so you know what children age ranges you're targeting with them. It gives you all the support you need with step-by-step instructions, key engineering and sort of science and physics messages that we're trying to get across. Additional activities if you want to stretch the children, warm-up activities. It's got timings that you should expect to spend on it, how many resources different numbers of kids need. Honestly, it is amazing and completely free for us as IMechE members. So definitely make the most of that. And what we do in our in-person training days is we will actually physically run through some of these activities so that you get more confident with them, because it's a really good idea to practice them before you go and do them with a load of children, so that you feel comfortable with what to expect. And for example, one of the things that I wanted to mention is like the kind of range of activities that they have. I've just picked some out here that are in the resources are available in the STEM kit, from bridge bonanza, building a bridge just out of lolly sticks, making a catapult, making a lunar rover, building a tower out of straws and dowels and cotton reels. And a really fun one is the ball run. That always gets people excited. So you actually create like a little mini roller coaster for a ping pong ball and see how long you can keep this ping pong ball moving for. And we've run these with IMechE members. So here's some photos of us doing our training days with IMechE members. And you can see them having lots of fun practicing the activities before they then go and do them with children and young people themselves. But actually, these activities are fantastic for differentiating through to much older children as well. So like Roxanne was saying with primary engineer, the range of young people that you can get involved with through primary engineer, it's the same with this. You can differentiate these activities for young children up to much, much older young adults. And, you know, these not so young adults, as you can see in the pictures, had a lot of fun with them as well. And I think if I was going to make a recommendation of one to start with, I would suggest Bridge Bonanza, because it is super simple. And as I said, if you ask for the IMechE toolkit, you'll get all the resources you need. But if you basically think it's just lolly sticks and some bulldog clips and some blue tack, and yes, you can use clothes pegs as well, and elastic bands if you want to get more sophisticated. But essentially, we're teaching the children and young people about the importance of shape in design and getting them to be curious and aware and notice different shapes in structures around them and why those things have those different shapes. What purpose do they solve? And when they can start actually testing them themselves and making things like one my children made earlier here, as you might be able to see, this triangle bridge out of lolly sticks, they just start thinking like, oh, okay, well, that's why we make it like a triangle, okay. And then you can tell them, when you connect triangles together, we call that a truss in engineering, and truss shapes are very strong, but can be very lightweight as well, depending on the material that you use. And of course, if you can link it to real life, like we say, with things like showing them pictures. I mean, a bridge is very tangible. Everybody probably knows what a bridge is. They've experienced bridges, so it's a good one for making it tangible. But show them some fun images of different types of bridges. And I always like to think, if you can think outside the box a little bit, you know, some people might think bridges are a little bit boring maybe, but if you can link something like bridges to a different example. So for example, this one here, I've just found a little video on YouTube, and it's actually all about engineering projects to build wildlife bridges. So these are bridges not for humans, not for traffic. These are bridges purely for wildlife, where they are linking, say, a jungle or a forest where they've built a motorway through the middle of it, and that causes the wildlife to have problems because they can't cross the road or they'll get killed. But they maybe need to cross the road to find mates in a different area, or find food, or find water. And so engineers are helping the wildlife by building bridges, and even aqua bridges like this for fish that cross over a motorway. So show them fun, different examples of what you're talking to them about, connecting the engineering to real life, but in a way that maybe they wouldn't have even contemplated. And I especially think if you can link it to the environment, to helping the planet, to helping animals, you know, for young people, I think that really, really connects with them. And this one where it's showing like the wildlife in the jungle and how they are now able to, you know, it's saved so many animal lives, and it's increased the population of these animals because they're able to find mates, etc., etc. And another recommendation I would have is think about how you can link it to diversity. So I mentioned this at the very start of the meeting today. How can you, like, no matter who you are presenting this session, running this session, can you bring in diversity in terms of gender, ethnicity, disability, neurodivergence? How can you link that in through case studies? Bridges is an easy one because nobody knows any female bridge engineers, but they exist. And famous bridges like the Brooklyn Bridge have connections to women engineers like Emily Roebling, who actually ended up being the lead engineer building that bridge. And then there's many other examples. So I'd suggest do a little bit of thinking beforehand so you can bring in some of those diverse examples. All right, so we've already been through becoming a STEM ambassador, and once you are on, if you go to the IMechE webpage for this as well, you'll find more support, more information. You'll be able to get access to all of the training videos for all of those IMechE STEM at home sessions, so you can practice at home, have fun at home with them, and also be able to catch up on any IMechE training sessions for ambassadors that you may have missed in the past. So loads and loads there for you. If anybody's got any questions for our speakers today, or for Yelena, or any sort of comments you want to make about being a STEM ambassador, feel free to share those.
Did we answer all the questions in the chat? I think there was one about international, which is a tricky one. So STEM learning doesn't operate internationally, unfortunately. There may be local options, but because every country is different and educational requirements are different, there isn't that type of organization as far as I'm aware, but that doesn't preclude you from getting involved in education outreach. So UK members are required to join the STEM Ambassador program because it does give us that extra insurance, extra safeguards, and it's something that's easy to do. But non-UK members are encouraged to follow our safeguarding policy, which I will share for everybody to take a look at, the best practice that's included there, and to get involved in education outreach nonetheless. So it'll be the same type of opportunities that will be available, whether it's going into schools, whether it's STEM clubs, whatever it may be in your local community that's needed. I suggest that you sort of have a look at what the requirements are and how you might be able to support it. Did you mention that you can start off by shadowing another STEM ambassador? So I don't know whether, do we say anything about that? Yes.
We I don't think we did. I definitely recommend it. if you it depends on your confidence levels, I suppose, as you as an individual.
Yeah, and I think connecting with your REO, so your local regional education officer, with the IMechE, then you'll find opportunities on your doorstep to go and just get involved. And there are things like, you know, one of our members always talks about the brilliant air shows that the IMechE goes and supports, and being at something like RIAT or one of the other big air shows where you don't have to do anything. You could just be on a stand and watch what other people are doing and kind of soak up the atmosphere and build your confidence and build your awareness. So start at whatever level suits you. You don't have to go straight in and do it and like into the deep end.
Yeah, so I think this is the whole point of what we're trying to talk about today, that it's what suits you personally, what suits your circumstances. There is an option for everybody. We encourage everybody at every level, every type of engineering. Everybody has something to contribute. It's just about finding what works for you, whether it's a structured program like primary engineer, whether you want to go to your kids' school down the road, whether you want to mentor or get involved in accreditation. There really is, whatever you want to do, is just a question of figuring out what suits you best. And hopefully we can provide that support. This training is unique as a PI offering it. Please do come to our other trainings and use the resources that we've spent good years developing and incorporated feedback of what works, and have a go with them. I'm conscious of time. Is there anything else from anybody else?
There's one more quick question before we finish from Marius. Have you seen that, Tristan?
I have indeed. I was just typing a response as we send. Yes. So as long as you're residing in the UK, same process.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I will leave my contact details. If anyone has something that comes to mind later, if they want to be linked up with Roxanne, with Tristan, with anybody else, please do, don't be shy, get in touch. And if anything hasn't been clear, I'm happy to clarify. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Alex, as always, for coming today. And of course, thank you, everybody, for joining. hopefully see you at an outreach event. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.